What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about 24 different altcoins in today's video. My voice is a bit hoarse today. It's a bit raspy, so if you notice that, everything's fine. I feel good. It's just, for whatever reason, my voice is gone. So if you don't notice it, well, then just pretend this is my normal voice. Let's get moving on. 24 coins. I'm going to go over the list right now. There should be a list in the description below, a list of the coins chronologically in the order that we're going to go over in this video. I will put timestamps in there. If you don't notice the timestamps, it's because you're probably watching the video right as I put it out. Give it about an hour, maybe less. There's that voice going away. And the timestamps should be there. Without any further ado, let's get into this. So JASMY is the first coin. Obviously, we got it on the screen here. UFO Gaming, XCN, and QNT at the request of the determined. Dogecoin for VOC. Bluezell and ACH for Fonzie. CKB for Risk Taker. Compound for the Bullhorn. Brett for Unlawful Law. MATIC for Crypto Beast. XDC for Benji the Third. Sorry. DGB and Zilica and 1 for May the Aldea. TAO GFI for Flower Child, FET and Ethereum for DKDKFU. I almost thought each of those deserved their own videos, but we're putting them in here. PLI and GPU for Daniel Bandini, SHIB and PEPE for Mischievism, another group that kind of deserves its own video in my opinion, but and then VELO for the Unleavened Baptist. So that's the list. Let's get into it here, guys. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's mosey on through it. So JASMY here. Looking fresh, looking ripe, looking ready to rumble in time, right? A nice little downtrend followed by a nice little consolidation phase, followed by a nice little explosive pop to the upside and a new trend being established. So we do have from a relative low to a relative high a bit of a standard retracement down to your 382, retesting the 236 area, and it does appear that we found resistance there. It would not be ideal nor conventional to bounce off the 382 and go up higher, but that's kind of what you want to see right now, right? It is possible that you could bounce at these areas. It is possible that you could find support in an area that you found support before a couple times before. But generally speaking, with this 382 support, 236 double rejection, generally speaking, we actually look for you to break through the 382. It's completely possible. And even lately, it's been a lot more common, actually, for things to be finding support on the 382 after finding resistance on their 236. But normally, the setup would be 382 support, 236 resistance, and then down to the 61869 zone. If not, down to your 0.5, then resistance on the 382, and then down here. But we're hoping that you form some kind of double bottom with JASMY. With the way it looks now, generally speaking, how I would go about like diagnosing this, how I would go about estimating this, without a doubt, I would call for a 61869 retracement. That would be the general setup just based off of this look alone. But with the overall dynamics of the market right now, with what I've seen across a few different cryptos, just random cryptos, I have been seeing this a lot where they'll find support on the 382, reject the 236 multiple times like it has here, and still continue to find support on the 382. So I'm going to call for that. I don't normally call for that, but 'tis the season apparently. So we're going to call for that. A move down to about 1.6 cents is what we're calling for. You don't have to move that low. You could find support right around where you are now or even just a little bit lower. That's possible as well. If we take a relative fib based off of this low here to this high, your 1272 to 1618 extended area would be anywhere from 17.5 cents to, you guessed it, about 16 cents. I'm sorry, not 17.5, 1.75 cents to 1.6 cents, somewhere in this area. I'm more in favor of the 1618 lining up with the 382, lining up with this prior area of support here. So probably find support there and then move higher, but for now, down. That's my thoughts. So that's JASMY. Next one, UFO Gaming. Man, my voice is so bad. I don't know why it's taking so long, so we're going to refresh it. It's still taking a while. And you guys are seeing this, right? Yeah. Everything's good on my end. I mean, I just refreshed it, right? How could I refresh it if I didn't have internet? Why is it not letting me? UFO. Okay, there we go. Gaming. UFO Gaming. All right, we'll just do this right here. looking at it at a weekly perspective, does not give me a lot of hope. It does look pretty bad. I would think you want to go lower. I think you want to see new all-time lows, right? Most people looking at this chart, you might say, well, you're right near your all-time lows. It's probably a good time to get in. And that's a good kind of perspective, right? Selling or buying near your all-time lows, selling near your all-time highs. I get it. But with how your weekly RSI looks, with how your daily RSI looks, I think you have more to go, man. I honestly think you have more to go. I think this week is telling us that you have more to go. And it'd be nice to stop here. And maybe you do. Maybe you do get a true double bottom at your all-time low, but maybe you go a little bit lower. From a low point here to a high point here, your minimum expected target is the 1272. That puts you right at about there, right at that all-time low, literally to a T, right at the all-time low. And then your corresponding targets are there and lower. So a little bit of downside is what I'd call for here as well. Probably another 13% or so. I bet you do find support there, but will you will it be sustained, or will it be support that is ultimately broken through? You know, that remains to be seen. So let's see how you interact with this area. Probably between about, what is that, 1 2 3 4 5 6 zeros, I think, 3 5 to 6 zeros 2 8, somewhere in this zone. Let's see how you interact with that area. Just because you go below this low does not mean that you're going all the way to zero. It could, but likely you'll find support in this area. You might inevitably go to your 1618, but I'm not calling for that right now. Let's see how you do with this area. If you come up and you find support in this area and continue to build, cool. If you find resistance in this area and you come back down, well, then we can talk about this 1618 and potentially lower targets. But until then, a little bit lower, 10 to 15% lower, and we'll see how you do from there, but lower nonetheless. So that's UFO Gaming. Let's move on. Hold on. All right. Onyx Coin, XCN. One of my favorite coins, one of the coins that I'm holding right now. It's been in a bit of a downtrend though, right? Technically since March, as has most crypto though, to be completely fair. We take our low, our cycle low to our cycle high, our current cycle high, pulled all the way back to the 618. Found, actually, first and foremost, you actually went down to your 0.5, found support there, found resistance on your 382, stair-stepping your way down to the 61869 zone, found resistance on your 0.5, found support on the 786. Now you're closing above the 618. That's nice. Generally speaking, when you close below the 618, you don't expect to close back above it until you're done with the trend. So closing above it last week and this week in about 3 days and 21 hours would be nice to see, getting multiple weeks closing above this white line here, which technically we're below. But if we can move up just a little bit by the end of the week, I think that would look really nice. Mainly to establish that this is the low, that we're probably not going lower. That doesn't mean we can't go lower than we are now and form some kind of higher low. Just means this downtrend is coming to an end, right? We might still form lower highs, but our lower lows are out the window now, potentially, right? Well, let's see how it goes after this next week closes. But I have no problem calling that a low. I have no problem calling for prices to go up higher. I wouldn't expect anything crazy dramatic in the coming weeks, but maybe as you get your way closer to this 0.0022 area, around the 382 here, this area of resistance, a little bit of support back here as well, and a little tip of resistance there. As you get closer to this area, that might be when you expect to see these faster, more predominant moves take place onto the next level. I want to take a look at this real quick before we dissect it a little more. High to low. That's not it. Come on now. There we go. And thank you all for bearing with me on with my voice today. It's actually why I didn't make videos last night. I literally lost my voice, but here we are today. Yeah, that 618 level comes up very well with the 382, doesn't it? Nope, it's the 0.5. Okay. So yeah, really 0.00218, 0.00253. I want to see how we react with this area up here when we get there. But until then, we're probably just stair-stepping our way up there. I would expect a little bit of a more dramatic move up as you break this little momentary downtrend, right? Something that's bigger than the past few weeks, but nothing like this. Nothing like that week that was 140%. Nothing too crazy, but you might get a nice little pop initially that takes you to like these prior areas of resistance, something like that. It could happen next week. It could happen by the end of this week. It is possible. But as of now, looking at the daily RSI, Looking at the weekly RSI, I wouldn't be surprised if you came down just a little bit more, just a little bit, but you're probably around the area that you would find a low. From a low point here to a high point here, 382, yeah, you're right there. So just a little bit lower. 0.00135 is probably the area that I'd call for, and probably just below that, honestly. It's very common to go below your 382 with your first interaction, and I would say this is the first interaction still. So find support at a previous area of resistance right below the 382, very common to do, just below 0.00135, and then it's probably time to start marching your way up more. Whenever you're getting up here, you'll be looking to break this more momentary downtrend, and that could beget bigger things. So down, a little bit down, probably today, and then over the coming days, over the coming weeks, probably more upside is my thoughts for XCN. QNT, USD, man, I'm spending way too much time on all these. QNT, but if you can deal with the raspiness, man, I'm gonna keep it going. I don't mind the daily RSI for QNT. It looks like you're setting up something new, right? If you look at what you did for a very long time, basically from the end of March here until like recently, until this month, you lived below the 50 line, right? You even lived below the 40 line a good bit of the time. Here you are living above the 40. Here you are getting above the 50, even getting to that overbought zone. So different things right now. You might not be in this same downtrend anymore. That could have been the mark, the final chapter of this onslaught to the downside. You might be starting something new. Something new does not mean this. It could, but likely what it means is just like, right, you're figuring it out. You'll get your higher lows put in, and then you'll move up sometime later when you're ready. It might take months. It might not take months, but just an idea. Just because you're doing different things doesn't mean that it has to go right now. It can, but it doesn't mean that that's what's happening, right? Don't get overzealous. I don't mind the daily RSI. I like the weekly RSI, actually. You've got a double set of bullish divergence there. You have moved up since. This could have been your move based off the bullish divergence, but nonetheless, a bottoming kind of signal in the RSI, which would imply a bottoming signal in the week in the price action, corresponding with doing different things in your daily, different things in the sense of doing a downtrend. Now you're doing different things. You might start a new trend. All these things are good. All these things I like to see. That does signal to me that over time, over the weeks, over the months, quant will work its way back up to these areas of resistance and probably beyond. But let's just see how it does. At the current rate, I would expect quant to be around like 140 to 152 by the end of the year. Maybe at the year's end, if not some point before the year's end. I think that it'll interact at those levels, just in perspective. So I think over time it'll do that. But for the current time being, I think you're done with your downtrend, but I think you have a little bit more downside to go from your current price. I think quant, you want to go down to about $58 to $54, somewhere in that zone. That's what I'm calling for. And I like that $58 to $56 area. I like that. But technically 58 to 54, somewhere in that zone, that's where you're going. Over the coming days, probably, right? Probably. If I'm wrong, let me just see. Hold on real quick. I mean, if I'm wrong, you just need to not close below this day here. If you don't get a day to close below $62 essentially, then I'm wrong. If you start finding support and you start, instead of closing days below this yellow line, you start closing days above this yellow line, above $67.30, then I'm wrong. But I don't know. And again, I'm just saying that because you could do something where you find support here, you move up, maybe you find resistance there, and then inevitably move down. Just stuff to kind of keep in mind, right? Break below this area where you're going down, right? Going down to what, 58 to 54, is that what I said? Break above this area, I'm wrong, and you're looking to make that long trudge, whatever, long march back up to this 140, 150 area by the end of the year is what my thoughts are. So that's quant. And inevitably, right, if it goes down first, and I think it will, if it goes down first, you're getting into that working your way back up phase, I think. Dogecoin. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Yes. Yeah. 1 second, guys. Okay, Dogecoin. Vac, you were asking me for a good area to buy, and the good area to buy is probably right now, man. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been saying this since this week, since this big week here. I've been saying it since here. I wouldn't think about buying Dogecoin until it's below 10 cents. And even back here, I think I was even saying like 7 cents could be a good area, but I've since changed that, right? I think, or maybe I was just saying below 9 cents. I can't remember what I was saying, but I do believe any time below 10 cents is probably a great time to buy, right? Any time below these levels here, previous areas of resistance, which we're at now, good times to buy. I realize you're at 10 cents right now, but I think Dogecoin at 10 cents or below 10 cents, ripe opportunity to buy personally. I do think Dogecoin will be worth multiple dollars by the end of this bull cycle. I really do. Like literally, it could be worth $4. It genuinely could be worth $4 by the end of the cycle, if not at least $3 inside. Like I'm not being facetious. I'm being very serious here. Multiple dollars by the end of this cycle. So buying around 10 cents or lower is a phenomenal buy, phenomenal deal. I do think it goes lower. I think that, you know, retrospectively, if we look at Dogecoin for what it is on its all-time history, if you put this weekly on here, right, weekly time frame, you do a 123 weekly moving average, right? That's what this green line is. And you look at how it's interacted its entire life right before these humongous moves that it makes, right? I mean, we didn't have it back here, but right before this humongous move, months you were dancing around this green line. Above it, very briefly below it back here, but really above it, but around it, right? Around it for months, and then boom, up, right? Around it for months, a little bit below it this time, but still around it for months, and then boom, up. Here we are, dancing around it. When's a good price to buy Doge? I think we are in that phase. It's not. I'm not going to give you a specific price. I'm going to give you a time frame, and the time frame can be just as wrong as if I gave you a price prediction, right? But time frame from here till October, the end of October. It's probably a good time to buy Dogecoin. That's my thoughts. If it's above 12 cents, maybe wait for it to pull back. If it's below 10 cents, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Will it go lower? Could it go lower than this though? It could. It really could. You could see it go all the way down to 7.3 cents, 6.4 cents. 6.4 cents, you just said 10 cents is a great buy. It is. It really is. 10 cents is a great buy. But it could does not mean it will. It is. It will be at this price right now. It is. You can buy that now. If you want to bank on these prices happening, okay, it might pay off. It might not. But like, you know, I'm just saying these would be the projected targets if you were to see a lower low. And I'm not completely convinced that Dogecoin will see a lower low. And then if you're also putting 2 and 2 together and you're like, you said until October. If until October, till the end of October, right, is what I said, is over here, wouldn't that just give it a whole lot of time for it to move down? Maybe it does move down. Maybe that's its low. Maybe it comes down, it moves sideways, and it's very boring and just kind of sporadic and unpredictable until boom, until it wants to go off. Who knows how it's going to look, right? And that's, again, whenever I go back to this this stuff from before, right? It's very just kind of like boring, but at the same time sporadic, more or less, before this pump up, right? Here, very, very boring. It had a lot of time to move lower, and it did move lower than this low, but just barely for a brief window and then up. So could we not move below this low? Sure. Could we move below it? Sure. But at the end of the day, it might not be by much. And as long as you're DCAing, I think it's going to be fine. Like whether you get in now or you get in at maybe it goes below 7 cents again, I'm not going to make that kind of call. I wouldn't be too surprised. It wouldn't throw me off. I wouldn't be like, oh, I never saw this coming. If Dogecoin went below 7.3 cents, I could see that happening. It really could. So if you want a price, 7.3 cents might be, and below, might be the key area to buy for Dogecoin before it really takes off. But it might not. The key area might just be, if you keep it simple, 10 cents or lower, right? In which case, like around here or lower, anything from here, I'd have no problem buying here. I think it's fine. So I've hit that over the head enough. Long story short, I think Dogecoin's going to be boring and to the downside, or just sideways. Be very boring is probably the best way to put it until the end of the year, probably till November or later. That's my genuine thoughts on Dogecoin. So I spent too much time on that, but let's continue to move. Not too much time. It was the proper amount of time. Blue Zell. BLZ, baby. All right, daily RSI is looking a little bit different as well. It's looking like it's starting a new trend, which is kind of nice to see, especially in a downtrend, right, that we've been firmly entrenched in. Volume is dying off little by little as we're moving down. That's also good to see if we're looking at the weekly time frame here. Somebody keeps in the comments, I need to respond. I meant to respond to this recent one, but somebody keeps in the comments, they've written like 2 or 3 snide remarks about Blue Zell, saying that it's a gorgeous shell, and it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's first off, most of crypto is a gorgeous shell full of promises without any follow through. That's 90% of crypto. In fact, every single cycle that a coin shines and it's doing 1,000x, it's doing a multi-100x in the course of like 2 or 3 months. Those are the biggest, prettiest shells that do that, right? So I don't know what the point of that is personally, because most of these cryptos out there that pump really hard, they have a lot of promise, right? But the results have yet to come through, right? And that's why they only last for one cycle, because promises are easy to do, but to last multiple cycles, you have to fulfill those promises. You can't just make them up. Ethereum's been around for multiple cycles. XRP's been around for multiple cycles. They follow through with their promises, right? They actually make things happen. And Cardano, same thing, you know, stuff like that. And those, not all of those cryptos might be relevant in the future, maybe. You know, I would expect 99+% of cryptos out there are going to be memories. They're not going to be anything that's used, and Blue Zell could very well be one of those. But I don't get what all the negative comments surrounding Blue Zell are from this one person. I would say them by name if I remember their name, but I think they mute their name on YouTube anyways. They just go by user. But there's more going on for Blue Zell than meets the eye, man. They've got some stuff going on for them. It's not just a pretty shell. And even if it is just a pretty shell, that's 99% of cryptos anyways. But the chart itself looks great from a low to a high. That's all that got me thinking about this is like look at the chart. It's fine. You're bouncing off your 618. You showed significant support right there on the 618 at the golden retracement zone. Also at a previous area of resistance back here, like literally you put a line right at that weekly point of resistance right there where you close. Boom. You're finding support right there. Structurally speaking, it looks fine. They've got products that are supposed to be coming out. I don't know when, but like is it by the end of this year or is it sometime in Q1 of 2025? They're working on stuff for like gaming and like I don't know where this empty shell thing notion came from for Blue Zell, but all in all, I think it looks fine. It's at 13.22 cents right now. It found support at key areas of support, both on a fib stance and on a price perspective. The weekly RSI is very weak. It wouldn't be surprising at all if price continued to go lower. Yes, lower. That does not have to be the low. We could go lower than this area here, from a low point to a high point. Showing significance, not really anywhere of significance. So it'll be interesting to see, do we find support at 12.6 cents to 12.3 cents? Do we find support there and then continue to move up? Or do we break through this, show resistance on it, and continue to move down to this 10 to 8.5 cent area, something like that? I mean, maybe we have one more low to go for Blue Zell, maybe, but I personally, I feel like this low, just structurally speaking, makes the most sense, and technicals definitely do matter. A lot of volume has died off with Blue Zell. I think it's probably time for it to start moving up again, but it may be waiting for the rest of the market to do so. So at any rate here, wouldn't surprise me if you came down a little bit, just a little bit, right? 12.6 to 12.3, I think is what I was saying, around these lows here, right? Let's see how you do with that. Find support there. You could be finding support here right now. You really could be. It's not at an area that makes sense based on the fibs, right? Reaching for the 618. I suppose if you turned around from here, this would actually be a really bullish look, reaching for the 618 but not quite getting there. But I would more expect that you actually get in this zone, interact with these lows, probably close the week just a little bit lower than these, get some bullish divergence going, and then move up. So at this rate, I guess I'd call for the week, if not this week, next week, to close below 13 cents. And once we do that, probably in weeks to come, days to come, months to come, we'll start moving up again. But down and boring for now is what I would expect for Blue Zell. ACH, Alchemy Pay. ACH being boring and chilling as well, right? As a lot of cryptos have been since March. The weekly RSI to me would suggest you go lower. The daily RSI would suggest you go lower. Could this be your low? It could be. Could it not be your low? Maybe not. We'll see. You know, time will tell. But low to high here. Oh man, it's not making it easy. All right, here's what I got for you, Fonzie. Okay, with the way it looks, with how you've interacted with this whole thing, I like how much support you found on the 618. I don't like that you just found resistance on the 618. Okay, but it's not just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's condemned to nothing. What you need to do now is not close below here. You can go below here. You can interact with this area. You can reach for it and not quite reach it, whatever. But don't close below 1.489 cents. Don't close below there, because if you close below there, you're going to 0.0086 to 0.0053, somewhere in this range, okay? Right? Because it looks very productive to the downside right now. What you need to do is start showing productiveness to the upside in the form of finding support on this 786, closing right at the 886 or the 786, finding support here, getting back above the 618, finding support instead of coming down stair stepping like this, right? Start stair stepping to the upside. Start doing that and start looking a little bit better. Start breaking this downtrend, right? Because if not, you might be firmly entrenched in this downtrend and you could be working your way down to this area. I'm not expecting that personally. That's not my call. My call would be that this line holds, but it comes with conditions, right? It needs to hold. You can't close below there. So 1.5 cents essentially. You can interact with that area. You can go below it. Don't close a week below it. And it'd be best to not close multiple days below it, in my opinion. Weekly bearish engulfing candle, the way the weekly RSI looks and the daily RSI looks, I'm not going to be surprised at all if you go lower from here. Based off of what I'm seeing, relatively speaking, I think it would make perfect sense to call for price to go down to about 1.62 cents to 1.4, yeah, 1.45, 1.48, somewhere in there, right? At this point in time, I'm not calling for a lower low, but something that is lower nonetheless, okay? And if I'm wrong, well, you know, we'll go from there too. Request this one again, Fonzie, if we close below this 886 here. Request this one again if we get a week to close below 1.47 cents or whatever that price is, 1.4, 1.49, 1.48, 1.48. If we close below 1.48 cents, let's talk about this again. And if you close above 2.16 cents, same thing. Let's talk about this again too in a good way, right? So, and I think it will be good. I think that it'll move up. But just time will tell. Let's wait and see how it reacts. I think that it'll go down a little bit. You'll get some kind of a double bottom or a higher low look, and then look to break out of this to the upside, right? This little downtrend, but to the upside. But time will tell. We'll see. Yeah, that's that. Okay. CKB for risk taker. Nervous network, man. I'm nervous because my voice is all gone. I'm nervous how it'll be received, how it'll be taken. From a high to a low, relative high to low there. And I'm not measuring the actual high. I suppose you could. There's some respect on there. I'm going to take this high just because it's like the high of the move, you know, and that's respected too. You know, maybe I will take the first high. Maybe I will actually. Yeah, I don't mind it. I like that as a low. I really do like that as a low a lot for CKB, both as a 382 support, as a 123 moving average support, the green line here, and culminating with previous areas of resistance here, even a little bit of resistance back here, right? You broke out and you went higher. Support even a little bit right there. So perfect area to find support. Very key area, it seems, in this thing's history. From a high to a low. I suppose your next target area would be about 1.37 to 1.71 cents, somewhere in that golden ratio zone. But genuinely, I don't think you're going to find too much trouble there. You're probably going to find more trouble in this 786, 886 area. And when you finally break through that, it's on to new all-time highs, man. You're going to 10 cents, 29 cents, higher than that. Yeah. This looks good. I don't know if this is a bull flag. Call it what you want, right? You had an impulsive move up and you've had a drawback. You're just, you know, taking the elevator up and the stairs down, but I think you're going to get ready to do a little 1, 2, 3 move up based off of this. And then base off of this. That 1618 coming in pretty well with that 1272. Yeah. By the end of the year, maybe. Maybe, man. Not even at a cent. Dude, this is, I don't know, man. This might be worth looking into. I might have to look into some nervousness. You know, I'm going to write that down, actually. I'm going to do some more research. Don't get too excited, guys, right? Like, I'm writing this down to just do research on my own time. If I like it, if I'm going to buy some, I'll let you guys know. I already have it written down here, actually. That's funny. I'm gonna just put a star next to it. Here we go. Little ugly sticky note full of potentials. Yeah. I think this one, when it rips, it's going to do really, really good. It's going to rip like this. It's going to be very fast on this next move up, and it'll send it to new all-time highs, right? Yeah. Daily RSI looks good. 4-hour RSI looks sad. The daily RSI looks more bearish than it does bullish, but right now, it looks a little bit more bullish, right? It looks like you've broken this downtrend with this move up here. You might be starting a new trend. Let's see. What are you doing here? Low to high. Perhaps you go a little lower, perhaps. You don't have to. I don't know, man. I kind of like this as a area to find support right at your 0.5. It's not too normal, but it happens. It's a deep retracement there. Yeah, down to your 786. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. Your 4-hour looks bearish. Your daily looks set up to be bullish, but it could go down a little bit too. I'm going to say I think you're near, if not at your low, your current low, right? Here's a low, here's another low. You're at your higher low here. If not, you go a little bit lower today or tomorrow. But I think soon you're going to start moving up. I do. I think you're at a good area, probably. Yeah, CKB looking good. And where's it going to move besides just saying it looks good, right? It's next phase up, probably up to about 1.2 cents, 1.4 cents, somewhere in that area. Probably, yeah, the areas where you found resistance before. That makes sense, right? Right here. Just move that circle, boom, right over there, and you've got your 1618, 1272 zone. So right there, yeah. Moving on up. And then really, actually, you might be in some kind of greater, what if this was like a left shoulder ahead and you're working your way up to form your right shoulder? I don't know. Wouldn't that be funny? You thought you had an inverse head and shoulders here just for it to break down. And really, the left shoulder was this inverse head and shoulders, and the right shoulder will be its own thing. Who knows? But anyways, there's that. Let's move on from there. Okay, so CKB, compound USD on Coinbase. Let's see here. 45.54. Compound being boring, yes, did more or less exactly what I thought it would do. It just took longer, right? Back here, I was calling for it to move down. It took longer. It took more time than I thought it would. Relative high to relative low here. Is that even the right? I don't even know if that's the right high to use. This might be a better high to use. Yeah, you'll probably find support soon. 43.70. You're at 45.54 now, so you're probably going to find support here. Relative 382. Relative areas of resistance, relative areas of support. Same thing as the last one. If that wasn't your low, you're very near it, and I think you're going to move up soon. I like the daily RSI. The weekly RSI, it's resilient. It looks neutral, but strong enough. I mean, not strong, I guess, but doesn't want to get oversold, has no problem being overbought. You don't like being below the 40. I consider that to be a kind of like sign of strength in itself. Consolidating, ready to move up higher. When is the question, though? I think compound's going to melt faces, you guys. I think a lot of people, myself included, who have been holding compound for over a year now and only been putting more money into it, I think we're going to be vindicated very soon. It's going to be like this, right? This week here. This week, specifically that week, I had so many people asking me where they can get compound. Asking me about compound all the time because I had been talking about it nonstop all the time here, right? We remember these days, right? We were just waiting for the breakout. We finally thought we were getting it, so things are getting really exciting. This is very reminiscent, in my opinion, of this same phase back here. We're right at the point right before the breakout, but we're actually going to get it this time, you guys, and it's going to bring us up to like $300, $230 or higher, right? We're at $45 now, and this will probably be by the end of the year. I'm really excited for Compound. I genuinely was about to buy more Compound if I didn't buy another crypto for the sake of irony in itself, but Compound is on the list of coins that I'm definitely wanting to acquire more of, and I think it's near its point of breakout. It's about to do some phenomenal things, but when is the question, right? About to, in a phase of consolidation that's been going on since June of 2022. It could be 2 months from now, right? But whenever we do get above $100, when we finally get back above this zone, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be explosive. I wouldn't expect it's explosive on the way up there. Maybe it is, maybe in short bouts, but more or less probably going to work our way up there, consolidate, and then boom, then it's going to rip and run. But I don't know. As of now, same thing from before. Instead of just blowing smoke into the dreams there, probably finding support in this area and moving up higher soon. If not today, soon. Very, very soon. Probably a perfect area to DCA if I had to guess. Brett is the next one. Brett. We'll use Bybit, sure. On a weekly, Brett's chilling. You look at the low to the high. Brett found support right at its 0.5 area. Didn't go all the way to its 618, which I remember saying it doesn't have to. It's very normal to go to your 618, but in this case, because Brett has such a limited amount of history, weekly closing high right here, finding support there, it makes sense. I like that as a low. I like this as like a bullish phase of consolidation. I think it is going to move up higher soon enough. You're getting some volume to come back in here, and you're not moving lower. If we were moving up, right? If we were moving up and volume started to come back in, and you're doing this, that would not look good. That would not look good, right? If you're moving up less, or like volume's coming in, and now you're not following through with the trend, right? Volume's finally starting to come in, you're not following through with the trend. That's a good thing. You know, not good to the upside, good to the downside, in my opinion. So accumulation probably going down here over the past few weeks, getting ready for that next move up on Brett. Probably like a lot of cryptos right now, just waiting on its time to move up, right? And it'll happen sometime by the end of this year, but when is a good question, you know. It could be weeks from now. It could still be like multiple months from now, right? Brett could be doing its thing, and then finally in November, boom, it rips, you know, but probably sooner than that, but who knows. All in all, I think Brett's on its way right now. I do think it's on its way to 27 cents, 41.25 cents, and you're at about 8 cents now. It is on its way there. That doesn't mean that it's doing it today, tomorrow, the next day. At any moment, it could happen, but likely boring. Likely Brett's going to be boring and chilling in this zone that it's in. With the way that the chart looks right now, I wouldn't be surprised if it went a little bit lower, right? I don't know if I should take that wick. I'm gonna take this somewhere around 7 cents to 6 cents. You're at 8 cents now. Don't be sad if you move down there, and don't be expecting those prices either. It might not come. I would throw this into like a similar kind of thing as Dogecoin, right? It's probably a perfect area to DCA. If you want to wait for lower prices, they probably come, but don't bet on them, because this thing, you never know, right? It could slowly be moving sideways, but to the upside instead of to the downside, like I'm thinking, right? So boring is what I expect from Brett. I expect it to be boring. If it moves down, a little bit more. If it moves up, it'll get sold into. So boring over the next weeks, probably month, at least a month. Boring. Maybe sometime in September you break this downtrend. Maybe. Right. Maybe. And that'd be exciting for a little bit, but nothing too exciting until probably October or later is my thoughts. That doesn't mean you're moving down the whole time. You could move up until then. You absolutely could. But you're not going to move up the way you're going to whenever you break out. That's when it's going to be exciting. MATIC chilling, found its low. I think it found its low in this range. I do think that's its low. I don't think it's going to go lower. Hell of a reaction afterwards. Weekly RSI looks weak, but you do have bullish divergence to finish it off. That was your move, whatever. A little bit of a bull trap, eh? A little bit of a bull trap there. Let's look at the relative low to relative high, see where you are on the fibs. Nice. Yeah, okay, so probably near your low. If not, you know, looking at all these cryptos tells me we've got a little bit more to go, guys. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. You don't have to hit this area. These are just lines, the 618 to 69. And where you found support so far is a pretty key area to find support, both as a previous area of resistance and a previous area of support back here. But just for the sake of the fibs, I would like to see you go to like 42.3 to 40.73 cents, somewhere in that zone. Find support there, and then move higher. So if either you found your low or you're very near it, soon, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon you're going to start moving up again. That's my thoughts for MATIC, but probably down, and just a little bit of downside for the next like day or two is my thoughts. Yeah, that's my thoughts for MATIC. Okay, next is XDC for Benji. XDC, the XDC Ravers, baby. Oh, let's see here. Double bottom, nice, yeah. Could be a triple bottom, right? If you want to consider it, like one bottom here, and another bottom there. Triple bottom, could be. This, of course, could have been some kind of triple bottom back here, and in which case this would then not be a triple bottom, but I don't know, however you want to take it. Maybe it's just a double bottom, you know, whatever. Probably a key area, nice area to find support. I would expect that that's the low. Doesn't mean it has to be. You gave a lot back, XDC. You gave it all back, actually. Very productive to the downside on this fib. What you need not do is close below that 886, okay? Do not close below 2.4 cents. Don't do it. You do that, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble, okay? You want to start working your way up. Weekly RSI looks very bad. It does not give me hope. Daily RSI looks very bad as well, but relatively speaking, could move up a little bit. Not a lot of volume going in. I don't need the volume to see it, right? You can just tell, right? If you're doing this day after day, there's not a whole lot of liquidity in this thing, right? Even here, it's moving more, and it's still pretty damn sideways, but like that's just lack of interest right there. Let's call for a move down. A move down from here, from its current price. Okay. The move that I'm calling for is going to be actually, we'll use this. Somewhere around 2.4 to 2.2 cents. Okay. Somewhere in there. You want, on this move, you want to have a positive reaction. You want to have a very positive reaction. If you start closing below the area that I said before not to close below, which I don't remember where it was, but we'll figure it out right now. Below if you start closing below 2.39 cents, multiple days or at least a week, if you close below there, that's when it's time to start shitting yourself, okay? That's when it's time. Until then, you're living on the fringe, but you're on the, at least you can breathe, right? And hopefully we're getting some kind of move up. We're not going to know. We're not going to know if XDC is a contender this cycle until we start seeing some positive results. And I would like to see that in the form of prices above 3.75 cents. Start getting prices above there, and we can talk about higher prices than 10 cents for the end of this cycle. But if not, you start closing below 2.39 cents, this thing's dead, man. Mark my words. A little bit of a haunting premonition there for it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to do that. I think it will find a lower low than this low, a higher low than this low, and soon you'll be breaking out of this downtrend that you've been in since July of 2023. So, yeah, there's that. XDC. At this point in time, I'm not worried about XDC, but you're close enough. You're definitely close enough to a point where you could start to be worried. If anything, honestly, like just my genuine look at XDC, I think it's a good area to buy. I don't think, oh, this is bad. I think probably a good area to buy. Probably. If enough time goes on and it doesn't get positive reactions, then we could start, worrying about the downside a little bit. But as of right now, I honestly would consider the upside as a stronger potential than the downside. I know I gave such a grim outlook, but that wasn't my genuine outlook. My genuine outlook is a little bit down and then up, probably to 3.75 cents. That's like where I ultimately think you're going to go, and then hopefully higher, but time will tell. Okay. DGB. Just wanted to set the record straight there because I have a way of confusing people sometimes. It's like I know what I want to say, like what I believe the most, but I want to throw the counter to that as like a precaution. And I focus so much on that seems like my stance. And it's like, I like try to contradict myself. People will say that, right? I've had that like all my life. People will be like, you're saying things that are contradicting yourself. And it's like, I'm doing that on purpose. I literally, and don't get me wrong. Like there's a way that you can do that where it's not productive for thought or conversation. Okay. Where it's just like madness. But I think, at least for me, to actively think, to critically think, you should be looking to contradict yourself. Where could this go wrong? What am I missing? Where could I poke holes in this? You should be looking. If you just blindly believe everything you say without looking for the contrary, that can set you up for failure. That can set you up for good confidence too. Difference between a confident hero and a confident buffoon is just the results, right? But I genuinely, that's kind of how my mind works. In case you guys haven't picked it up, is like I will address the side that I don't believe is going to happen, and I'll even make it sound like that, like I believe that's going to happen, but I'll only address that as like a caution, and then I'll take a moment and be like, this is what I actually think is going to happen. I don't know how much sense that made, but again, who cares? Digibyte looking bad, looking very bad. Digibyte. You did not have the positive reactions we were looking for. Your weekly RSI looks bad. Your weekly price looks bad. This could be the death of Digibyte, you guys. It could be. It's hard to say. This could be the precise area where it starts to do really well. I'm not calling for the death. Again, just a precaution, right? But you're doing exactly the opposite of what we want you to see. And this week is not going your way at all. So we've got time. But we don't want to close below this 886. We certainly don't want to close below these weekly closes here. And we're at that point now where we're just a little bit below there. So come up to 0.006825. Close above there. Do that. Really, we want to get you above this, above about a cent. That's your goal right now, and you're quite a ways away from that. So if not, you're on the risk of going down to a 40% of a cent or 25.3% of a cent. This zone here. I mean, if you do that, man, it's Digibyte's dead. Like there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. It's a dead coin. I don't like the way it looks. I really don't like the way it looks. It's at an area where it would need to, right now, needs to find support. It's not condemned yet, but you need to find support here. So not really an analysis on this one, just kind of conditional, right? If you hold this area and you start moving up, good. If you don't, and you start moving down, especially if we get a weekly close below this area or multiple daily closes below there, not just bad, man. It's dead. So it's okay if you move down. You don't want to move down too much. Just come back up and really get going, man. Get going. You need to, like right now, you need to. Again, I am not saying Digibyte's dead. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's on the fringe of death, right? And that's what a lot of risk takers like. They like to live on that fringe. This is on that fringe. It's on the fringe of death or greatness, right? It's either make it or break it time right now. And even then, even if it makes it, we're still wondering if it's going to see new all-time highs. That's still a question as of this cycle. And as of right now, I have no reason to believe that it will see new all-time highs. We have a lot of work to do before that's even part of the discussion. Primarily, you need to get above there. You need to get above 2.2 cents, essentially. And then we can start talking about it. But until then, at this point in time, the goal for Digibyte by the end of this cycle is 5 cents or higher. Anything, I'm serious, 5 to 12.4 cents. This is the goal for Digibyte by the end of this cycle. You need to start having life in you like today, for that to change, right? We need to get above this 382 by the end of the year, right? And hopefully interact with this area even by the end of the year or the very beginning of next year to even begin to consider 47 cents, $1.54 prices, right? Much more promising back here in this time, a lot less promising now, 6 months later, okay? So just so you're aware of where we're at with Digibyte. I don't think it's in the doghouse yet. Or it is in the doghouse. I don't think it's in the graveyard. I don't think it's dead yet, but it's close. So got to hold these areas, man. Got to start moving up. Just being real serious there. Silica for Media Aldea. Media Aldea. Zilica. Low here to high there. Looking like you want to reach for that just under a cent area. I bet you do. I bet you do. Yeah, you look like you want to go a little lower. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to call for that. So let's see. What would that be? That'd be 0.968 cents. 0.968 cents, so 0.00968 to 0.008166, somewhere in that zone. That's where I think you're going. That's Silica. Easy peasy. One token. Harmony. Harmony is in its accumulation phase, right down here at the bottom. I have no problem with this. I think it's going to do phenomenal. I really do think it's going to break out, kind of like Compound, right, or like Mana, hopefully like Digibyte. But it's less than the doghouse. Weekly RSI, I like that it's not getting oversold. I like that a lot. Overall, it looks very productive. You look like you're at the base of this weekly RSI looking to move up, and same thing with the price. So I'm expecting that is your low right down there, and you're probably going to move up as time goes on. At the moment, it wouldn't be too crazy if you move down, right? Just to, ooh, you might be moving up from here. Let's see how today closes. If you close today green, then that's it. That was your low. If not, you go a little bit lower, okay? And where do you go to? I mean, at the lowest, like 1.05 cents, maybe 1.112 cents, maybe just below that low, but you're very close, if not at it. Closing green today, bouncing off your 382, very nice, very strong. Bouncing off your 50 on the daily RSI, very strong, and it looks like you just might. I'm going to call for you to move up. I know I'm saying like you might move down and like playing the safe card there, and you might, but genuinely, I think you found your low, man. I think you're moving up. So really, let's talk about the upside then. Little change of pace from the morbid coins that we went over, right? From a high to a low here, up to your 382 is your first target. 1.538 cents to 2.2 cents. That's your target area. Maybe even 2.46 cents. Yeah, up in there. Moving your way up over the weeks. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It could. You never know, but probably not. But that's that. TAO for Flower Child. Not on Binance. Not on Kraken. We're going to do it on Binance. All right. Daily. Chilling. Came back a little bit, right. Let's see here. High to low. Closed above the 886 multiple times, and I believe that's when I asked you to reference this again, right, Flower Child? Is if you got this close. And you did. And you closed, but you just didn't do anything with it afterwards. It's very odd, very strange that you looked so good right there and you just didn't follow through. But the rest of the market kind of dived too, so that's okay. Overbought, now you're not. Whatever. Same analysis as most of these. Very near your low, if not at your low. If you go lower, 271 is the lowest I'd give you. I don't know if you do, though. I wouldn't be surprised if you found your low here already. Okay, a little lower, yeah. 287, 271, somewhere in that zone. You're at 296 right now, so a little bit lower, but you're very close to your low. I think the rest of the market is too. GFI, looking like it wants to go lower. Yes, lower as well, so a little bit further away from its low, perhaps, from a high to a low. Yeah, let's say 220. You're at 245 now, a little bit around 220 is probably where you're going to go over the coming days, GFI. FET.ai. FET looking like it wants to come down. I think that initial, the ASI merge or whatever, I think that's like that happened, right? I don't know. I haven't kept up with that, but I think the hype on that has probably died off a little bit. Volume's coming in and you're not moving higher, you're actually moving lower. So I would expect you move all the way back down to 93 cents. You're at $1.19 right now. I expect you move down to 93 cents. At best, you'll hold $1.10 around there. I know it says $1.11, but $1.10, okay? At best, you'll hold $1.10. If I'm wrong, and you're at $1.19 right now, if I'm wrong on that, and I'm not if I'm wrong, I'm saying that at best you hold there. I'm not expecting that. That's at best, right? My expectation is actually that you do go to 93 to 88 cents, somewhere in that zone. That's my expectation. But if I'm wrong, $1.10 could hold, $1.11 could hold. And then if you move back up above $1.25 after hitting that area, that's how you know I'm wrong. But I think you're going lower. I do think you might even be going lower than this low. Yes, you might be. Time will tell. That is hidden bearish divergence. It's not a good look in a downtrend, is it? It's really not. It's not quite. This could be a bull trap, man. It's just a lower high. Rejecting the 50. You are set up. You are really set up to get bucked here, man. Low to high. You are set up to go to 62 cents right now. You really are. So you better hope you hold that 98 cent to 88 cent area, or $1, whatever it was that I was saying. 93 cents to 88 cents. And at best, you could hold $1.10, $1.11, but time will tell. Anyways, that's that. I think you're going down, FET. Okay, that's just what I think, especially for the immediate term. We'll see how it goes weeks and weeks on from now. But ETH for DK Foo. Such weird price action here, man. I think that was your low, if not very near your low as well. You could move down to about 2350, 2350, 2300 itself. You're at $2,523 right now. Maybe a little bit lower, maybe, but maybe not. I don't know, man. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time. I don't know if you go lower Ethereum. I think that might have been Ethereum's low. I think that was it, guys. I'm calling it. If I'm wrong, 2,350, 2,300, little $50 window there for you. That's where I think you'll go, okay? Heavy emphasis on that 2,340 area. But if I'm right, then really I think your next move is going to be 2,600 and beyond, probably 2,630 and beyond. Let's call for a move to 2,600 to 2,700 over the coming days. That's my thoughts, okay? And I could be wrong. I think you're moving up, though, Ethereum. I think so. Which is nice. It's kind of interesting that some of these lower ones look like they want to move down more, but Ethereum, being the big dog, looks like it wants to move up. The big dogs, when the big dogs eat, so do the little dogs, you guys. Okay, so that's a good thing. We want Ethereum to go up. Plug in PLI, man. So much promise and nothing since, right? Nothing since. So easy to trade time and time again. And now it's been in a death. Oh, man, and it's picking up volume as you're going down. I don't like that. You're probably near your low. Yeah, I mean, being at this all-time low here, you're probably very near your low. I would expect you get some kind of crazy pump soon, probably back up to about 3 cents to 4.7 cents. What you do with that will determine this thing's fate. If you come up here to this zone and you reject, well, this thing's dead. That's it. It's been a fun ride, but you're done, PLI. If you come up to this zone and you consolidate and then you break out higher, good. Good, good. Right? If you don't do either of those things, you just consolidate forever, well, still, you might be dead, but at least you got a little life in you. I think you will see a nice move, at least up to 3 cents. You're at 1.6 cents now, at least to 3 cents, but likely, I would think, somewhere around 3.6 cents to 6.2 cents, somewhere in that zone is where you're going to go. When's it going to happen? Any week now. It could literally happen any week now. You've got some severe divergence on that daily RSI in a good way. I don't like the chart overall, but I like where you are. So yeah, probably a good time to buy a quick little pump and dump if you want it. Who knows though? It could send you up higher. Who knows? Either way, probably a good time to get in. Even if it does inevitably break to lower lows, probably a relatively good time to get in. PLI. GPU. Chillin', neutral, very new chart. Not a whole lot of data. I'm going to call for you to go down. I think you're going to go down a little bit, just a little bit. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, cool. You'll break out to the upside, and you'll set new all-time highs based off this chart. But I think you're going to go back to 63 cents to 57 cents. If I'm wrong, if you break above $1, cool. You're going to new all-time highs above $1.40. But I think 63 to 57 cents, somewhere in there. GPU, Shiba, just like Dogecoin. I think it's going to be boring. I think it's going to move down and it's going to move sideways. It's going to be boring for the time being. So nothing really new going on here, guys. Okay, expect prices to be lower. I don't know if you see prices lower than this low, but I certainly do expect prices lower than they are now, somewhere around whatever it was at 401258 to 401222 for now. If you go lower, you could go as low as 50967. You could, but time will tell, and that'll probably take time. It's not going to happen immediately. It's going to be very boring. Any move up will get sold into. Any move down will probably get bought into. That's Shiba. PEPE is the next one. PEPE here. I would give it the exact same analysis. Probably down, probably boring for the time being. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5071 to 50687, somewhere in that zone is where you're going to go. Maybe lower. Maybe you go lower, but time will tell. But definitely lower from here, I think PEPE. And then VELO. Velodrome, or Velo, it's not Velodrome actually. Velodrome is the one we don't want. VELO looking good. VELO's looking really good, actually. Look at you, VELO. Yeah, you're looking really good. This is one of the better looking charts we've looked at all night, actually. You're looking like you want to move up to 1.68 cents to 2.45 cents. You're at 1.36 cents now, so good job. You're looking really good. Yeah. I like, dude, you're going to go up immediately. This is the one out of all of them. Unleavened Baptist, you're the winner tonight. Out of all of them, I'm the most confident this one wants to move up, and probably a good bit in a short amount of time too. So yeah, congratulations on Unleavened Baptist. You got this one. So that's the winner. And also special shout out to the Determined, because he requested it, but you know, you requested it the day that like I'd already did it, so I didn't write your name down for this one. But the Unleavened Baptist and the Determined, because both you guys like this one. But I think it looks like it wants to move up, man. This looks really good. Like you're gonna see. You might even break through that 61869 zone, but that's the zone, 1.68 to 1.86. That's the zone. If you break through that, cool. You're going up to 2.16 to 2.46 cents, somewhere in there. It's looking good, looking good. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.